The daily podcasts are Ken and Ken in the Morning, Lions Talk with Smoking Jeremy B, Wrestling Roundup, The Big Football Show, and more, Shield TV, Lions Villain Report, and Red Zone Rant. The afternoon podcasts are Valhalla, Grosef Sports, WCFL Dolphins Talk, The Cheap Seats, The Bodkin Show, Spirit of Detroit Podcast, and Maniacs. The nightly podcasts are Hallis Hall Report, Frozen Tundra Network, Skull Gang 365, The Huddle Sports Network Open Mic, First and 10 with Foz, Main Event Football Show, Prime Sports World, The Man Cave, Prim and Proper Sports. Spitballing Podcast, Lions Fan Cave Chat, Puckett, 313 Den Podcast, The Guys Huddle, Shots from the Sideline, Let's Talk Sports, The Michigan Truth Sports Podcast, Off the Rails, NFC Northeast, Power Hours, and Detroit Lions News. Make sure you follow, like, share, subscribe, and comment. Hope you
Welcome to the Huddle Sports Network, where we're breaking boundaries and redefining podcasting. Broadcasting live on 6 different platforms, we're bringing you the latest in sports like never before. Imagine tuning into real-time discussions, expert analyses, and fan interactions all at your fingertips. Each platform offers a unique experience, whether you're on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch. We're not just sharing stories, we're creating a community of passionate sports enthusiasts. Join us as we dive deep into the evolution of podcasting, where every episode is a chance to engage, debate, and celebrate the world of sports. This is where your voice matters and the game never stops. Welcome to the Huddle Sports Network, where we're breaking boundaries and redefining podcasting. Broadcasting live on 6 different platforms, we're bringing you the latest in sports like never before, where sports passion meets podcasting brilliance. I'm Mike, the Bear fan, and alongside Bill, the Packer fan, and our buddy Ken Catalone, we're bringing you an incredible lineup of 38 diverse podcasters. Each one brings their unique flavor to the table, covering everything from game analysis to behind-the-scenes stories. Imagine diving deep into the minds of experts who live and breathe football, sharing insights that you won't find anywhere else.
All right, what's up? I got Matthew with me today. It is Saturday, December 7th. It's Viking Wars 3, the return of Kirko this week. But that being said, it is December 7th, and we do want to be especially mindful of that. It's a pretty sobering day for many reasons. So I'd like you all to just view this here quick.
Yesterday, December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy. The United States of America was suddenly and deliberately attacked by naval and air forces of the Empire of Japan. Hostilities exist. There is no blinking at the fact that our people, our territory, and our interests are in grave danger. With confidence in our armed forces, with the unbounding determination of our people, we will gain the inevitable triumph. So help us God.
So that little clip is from our friends over there at Black Rifle. It's quite something to think about, Matthew. I know you served and everything. I served. We're both, veterans and whatever else. But that was the first time since basically the War of 1812 that we had been attacked on our home soil in the modern era, and it led to the Second Great War and produced a generation that we now call the greatest generation. There's not very many of them left. I mean, my great-grandfather served in World War I. My grandfather served in World War II, and we call them the greatest generation for what they were able to accomplish, in the Pacific, in Europe, everything else. But December 7th, quite the event. I've never actually made it out there to Hawaii to see like the Arizona, memorial and
Right.
stuff. Guitar player in my band is out there right now, actually.
Nice.
He's bringing me back some swag and stuff. And then my wife's father was stationed at Schofield Barracks for quite a few years and stuff. So he's getting some more memorabilia to surprise him and everything with Christmas for some of that stuff. But
I could have gone there had I re-enlisted.
right.
They were
Yeah.
offering it to me. I was like, ah.
Yeah. It's probably better than, going to Fort Drum and freezing.
Yeah, I had El Paso. It was just desert heat, so the exact opposite.
Yeah, I mobilized out of Fort Bliss and El Paso in 05
Okay.
and went over to Iraq. So, yeah. Talk about the heat, but we were pretty acclimated by the time we flew into Kuwait. So
Exactly.
But yeah, so this is the week that a lot of people have had penciled on their calendars. A lot of people did not see this coming this way with the way this season was going. Everybody thought, yep, Kirk Cousins signs this massive contract with Atlanta, right? 4 years. I don't know how many, well over $100 million, but $100 million basically guaranteed. The Falcons were supposed to be a team on the rise now in the NFC, and got that hurdle cleared, got their quarterback, and then they drafted Penix as well, and what do they got? 6 wins. Right
6-6, yeah.
6-6.
Lost 3 straight, I think.
Coming back to face the 10-2 Vikings with Sam Darnold, who most people thought were a 6-win team, 8-9 at the best, and here we're sitting at 10. I have to do some double checking, but I think if we win this, we lock a playoff spot. Am I right on that?
So I technically heard last week that we could go 13-4, but there's so many extenuating circumstances that even 13-4 could keep us out. I don't know what the laundry list of that would be, but I also heard that if we win, and I forget which team, but a particular team loses, then we're locked. But I don't think just a win gets us in. I think we need somebody to lose.
Yeah, I'll have to look that up or whatever. But if we win, I think 11 wins has me feeling a lot more comfortable.
Yeah.
So, of things that have went wrong this week, I don't know if people noticed, Stephon Gilmore is not going to be playing.
Yeah.
He's been ruled out by Kevin O'Connell. So, what do you think? What do you think we're going to do there? Obviously, I can't remember that guy that we signed.
Fabian Moreau or whatever.
Yeah, something like that and everything. But is it finally Nudie McGlothern in time? Is he?
I really hope so. I hope. I mean, that's kind of what KOC was hinting at in his press conference earlier this week, is just saying, like, he's going to get his opportunities. This week might as well be the week. We're going to get into the game from last week later, so I don't want to take all my takes, but we can't put Moreau back out there because he just kind of got picked on last week. And McGlothern looked really good in preseason and training camp, so I really want to see what he's got in the game.
For sure. And I'm trying to, it's been a busy week, but we picked up, it might have been Fabian Moreau. I can't remember who.
I can't remember if we picked him up or if he was on the team and just stashed away, but.
Yeah, we did. It's hard to. There's so much stuff on here, so many interviews and whatever. But
right.
So okay, here questionable. So Andrew DePaula, our long snapper, and then Will Reichard, our kicker, are back in their 21-day practice window. There's a good chance that Will Reichard could, be activated. Which, if he is, that probably spells the end of John Parker Romo. Just let me know what you're thinking on that whole thing real quick too, Matthew.
Well, that's the beauty of John Parker, is we don't have to rush Reichard back because he's been awesome. He's only missed 1 field goal since he started. You could obviously stash a kicker on your practice squad. I don't know if we'd use a practice squad spot for a kicker, but I kind of don't want to give him up. You don't need 2 kickers, but again, if someone's going down, it's nice to have someone that can come in and just nail it right off the bat. And the same thing with our long snapper. We haven't really had any issues with our placements, with our punts. So Just take your time getting them back. Make sure they're 100% healthy. It's nice to have depth at special teams because that's an underrated facet.
Yeah. And then, of course, also questionable, we have Pat Jones, too, which is he's been providing a lot of pass rush coming off the outside linebacker spot. Harrison Phillips, that really concerns me. Dalton Reisner also really concerns me, but we always have Ed Ingram. I hate even that just came out of my mouth. But and then Van Ginkel, which is the most concerning out of that group, being questionable. And the Van Ginkels have a bus full of their family heading up there again for this game and whatever. And hopefully the Van Ginkel shirt that Brian Flores has been wearing, they're having a limited supply on sale up there. So I got my friends are trying to get in as early as they can and snag me up one at the stadium. Good luck. Yeah. So hopefully we can I can come out of that and everything with a decent shirt. So
right. Well, I mean, we drafted Dallas Turner for a reason. So if Van Ginkel is out this week, it's Kirk Cousins. It's not Kyler Murray. It's not Caleb Williams. Kirk Cousins isn't going anywhere. So Dallas Turner and Grenard, who just got Defensive Player of the Month, should be enough to get after him. I'm not quite sure how good Atlanta's O-line is. I can't imagine it's too good. And again, even if they are, Kirk Cousins is a stone in the pocket, especially after coming back from that Achilles. Reisner does concern because he played really well the last couple of weeks, but our interior O-line has still been getting abused. So, but I guess the Falcons' pass rush is like 29th in the NFL in pass rush win rate, and we have a top 5 pass. Yeah, they're not good. So, and we have a top 5 pass rush O-line. So even if that dips a little bit, I think the Falcons are still going to struggle to get after Sam Darnold.
And also, like, let's say Van Ginkel plays, but it's Patrick Jones that can't go. That's the perfect opportunity right there for Dallas Turner to come in and really have himself a game. Because, I don't think anybody saw Patrick Jones the second doing as well as he did this year. I mean, what's he got, like 8 sacks or something now?
7, yeah.
7 or 8. I mean, he keeps having a good rest of the season. He could be a double-digit sack. I mean, Patrick Jones being a double-digit sack guy, it's possible. I mean, nobody saw that coming either. So, that's I look at it as one way or another. This is Dallas Turner's opportunity, and I did notice he did get a couple more snaps than usual last weekend versus the Cardinals, and we'll go back and talk about that Cardinals game a little bit. But if ever there was an opportunity for that kid, it's this.
Yeah.
But before we get a whole lot further into stuff, we also had another bit of news dropped on us. And rather than sit here and just try to explain it, I'm just going to play this clip here. So this was last Sunday morning, and this is Randy Moss. And then I want to talk a little bit about Moss after we're done watching this. But this is what Moss gave us all as fans here. Check this out.
It's astonishing how bad they've been.
Yours and mine both. What's up, sitting here with the crew?
1 week I finished.
That's my man.
Who's got a big day?
Oh. Hey. What's up? Nothing, man. I just want to give y'all a little message. I'm on my grown man right now. I see I got 400 eyes on me. But anyway, this is a message for all the men, yeah. I'm sitting here on Sunday NFL Countdown, and, throughout the week of the holidays, man, your boy has been battling something internal. And, I just ask for all the prayer warriors, to put their blessing hands on me and my family through these hard times. And, people were talking about my eyes last week, and, I'm here. So if you see these on, Sunday NFL Countdown, Adam Schefter calls them the Michigan turnover glasses that they sent from Ohio last night. So I just let it go with these, and I got the right side, the strong side on here. Strong side, you see, strong side got his glasses on. So, anyways, man, like I said, y'all, I'm battling something, man, and it's something internal. Your boy gonna get through it. I got a great team of doctors, and got a great family around me, man. So all you men, man, y'all do your checkups, get your blood work done, and we'll work through it, all right? So you see me with my Michigan turnover glasses on. Y'all know what I'm battling, man. All right, God bless y'all. Thanks for the prayers, man. Sunday NFL Countdown coming up soon. Y'all stay tuned.
So there we have it. So Randy Moss is fighting something. Usually when it's like yellow eyes or whatever, it's like some sort of a liver or possibly kidney type of thing. People are speculating it might be cancer or whatever, but it's amazing what Randy Moss means to this fan base. Like we were talking before the show, Matthew, I grew up on a farm in the middle of nowhere in Northwest Iowa. So like the closest big town is Worthington, Minnesota, then it's Sioux Falls, South Dakota. So small, little like 20-inch TV, good old fashioned rabbit ears from the 70s with aluminum foil stuck on it. So I can get channel 13 out of KSFY, out of Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And the reason why I became a Vikings fan is because the whole time growing up, we'd get home from church on Sunday morning, Sunday mid after or early afternoon, that's what KSFY always had on was the Vikings every week. So we'd eat and then I'd watch the Vikings. I mean, my parents weren't so much into it. My brothers were too little to care and everything, but that's how I became a Vikings fan, is because that's what I had on every Sunday to watch, basically. And, grow up, get out of the house, go through basic training, AIT, out of my own, whatever. 2 years into the military, 1998 rolls around. We draft this rookie, Randy Moss, out of Marshall. And everybody's hyping him up. But a lot of people are like, he dropped because he's a character and everything else. I tell you what, that rookie year, I don't think anybody had seen anything like it. I bought my first real, not knockoff, NFL Moss jersey. I'd walk down the streets of Spencer, Iowa, when I was living there. And it's like at that time, everybody was Cowboys fans because Cowboys just gotten done, with all these Super Bowls, going to them, winning them, everything else. And people used to be like, the Vikings suck. I heard it all through, high school and everything. And it's like walking down the street with that Moss jersey wearing number 84 and everything. It's like, you say whatever you want about the Vikings, but what you don't have on your team, and you're probably never gonna, Randy Moss.
Right.
Moss is what made a lot of fans into diehard fans and then super fan. I don't even know what the definition is of a super fan. But the best I can figure is that the diehards are the ones that absolutely have to watch the game one way, shape, or form every week. You cannot miss the Vikings. And then the super fans are the ones that just take it to that next level with the game day outfits, the tailgating,
Right.
the big collections and all this other stuff, and that's some people's definition. Other people have different definitions, but Randy Moss minted an entire generation of Vikings fans. And I mean, the guy means so much to our team and everything. And I know you're younger, Matthew, but going back and just watching all the highlight reels and then just seeing Moss, how he contributes to the sportscasting and just being around the other fans talking about Moss, what is your memories of just going back and rewatching some of those highlight clips and everything of him?
I mean, his impact is crazy. He's the second to ever get a first time, or God, what am I thinking of? First ballot Hall of Fame receiver outside of Jerry Moss. He's the second one to ever do it for a reason. Like my stepbrothers had the 3 deep poster growing up, watching him moon Green Bay, which the story behind that's hilarious. Everybody knows the soundbite of straight cash, homie. Like the dude was just an absolute icon. He was just a freakish athlete. Like you said, we talked about before the show, the Dallas game, 3 catches, 3 touchdowns, almost 180 yards. That's Madden numbers. That's absolute insanity. I didn't move to Minnesota until I was a little bit younger, like about 7 or 8. So I kind of missed that peak Moss era. So that's unfortunate. But I did watch him go to Oakland. I watched him go to New England and put up 26 touchdowns in a single season with Tom Brady. Again, just absolute insane numbers. That dude, it breaks my heart to see him going through this. I hope he can come out. He's 46 years old. He's way too young. Prayers to him. But yeah, he's just an absolute legend in every way.
Yeah. And I finally got our comments to come up and everything. So Wayne Shirk, thanks for chiming in. He says, Lions fan enjoying your show. Prayers for Moss. And he also earlier said, good afternoon. Thanks for the December 7th video. Brand's like, the day they wake a sleeping giant, Army vet here. Yep. Awesome. Thanks for chiming in, guys. That's great, and thanks for all of our opposing fan bases and everything for watching Valhalla Hour here. We do like to go around and talk about the rest of the NFC North, and I'm sure the Lions and Packers will be included in that after the game 2 nights ago and whatever. So, if you're a Packers fan watching this, you know what? You had one job to do. We need somebody to beat the Lions so we can potentially have this game mean something, the last game of the year, if we can try to play for the division. But right now the Lions look like they can just handle just about anything that's thrown their way. It's real hard to see a loss, on their schedule coming up and whatever. But
yeah, that whole day I'm sitting there going, like, I'm cheering for Green Bay. Like, I hate to say it, but I'm cheering for Green Bay. And then I'm watching the game. I don't have it in me. I'm like, yeah, go Lions. I understand we need them to drop a couple games. I understand we want that division. We want that 1 seed if we can get there. I can't cheer for Green Bay, knowing that they're 9-4 now. Jordan Love is 7-4 on the season as a starter. It makes me so happy. So yeah, take it, Lions. Whatever. I'm not pumped about it, but I'm glad Green Bay lost.
Well, it's just the craziest year too, because I mean, think about it. Well, now after Thursday night, the Packers are a 4-loss team and everything, but I mean, look at it. The Lions are 12-1. We're 10-2. With one game behind, we got to play our game Sunday, obviously, and everything. But if we beat Atlanta, like I think we will, we'll get in that later. They're 12-1. We're 11-2. This is nuts because both teams are probably going to stack a couple more wins. Be 13-14. The Lions could be a 15-16 win team. Whatever. Stack a couple more wins on here. You've got 2 of the best teams, depending on what the Eagles do as well. I guess sneakily they've won a lot. I mean, they got but one of these teams is going to win the NFC North, and then undoubtedly, again, pending what the Eagles do, be the number 1 seed in the NFC. The other one's going to be the 5th seed in a wild card, and you're sitting here, it's crazy talking about just double-digit win teams, period. That are above 10 wins, being the 5th seed in a wild card and everything. Normally, it's like your 9-win teams are fighting for that. The guy that gets 10 is pretty comfortable. We already have that, and we've got like several games to go yet. And the Packers can I mean, they're in by no way, shape, or form ruled out. I mean, I still see all 3 of these teams getting in. We're gonna have probably the Lions, win the division unless somebody can knock them off and then we can beat them. It doesn't look real likely, but it's very likely the Lions win this division. And then you've got the Vikings and the Packers stuck in the wild card race at different seeds. What a crazy year. And the thing of it is, people expected the Lions to be good. The Packer fans and those who in the media were hyping the Packers up, I think we all called that there was going to be a little bit of a drop off here, and the Packers have lost now against the Lions and the Vikings. Granted, we all have games to play. We have to play our division rivals one more time a piece, and that's all coming up here in the next in this next month, which it's going to buckle up and hold on because anything can happen.
Well, on the bright side, the Bears game is in Minnesota. The Packers game is in Minnesota, and Detroit's going to be the final week of the season, which, depending on if they just keep winning out, they might be benching their starters in that game. So there's still a chance that we can go 5-1 in the division.
If they're declared basically the division winner before that game happens because they don't lose a second game this year, and it's just done, and there's no scenarios as to where even if the Vikings do win and we are both tied as 2 lost teams, and there's no guarantee we're beating the Packers or even the Bears.
Seattle. That game is making me really nervous right now because Seattle's playing really well.
It does. Seattle looks sneaky good, and we have a serious problem of being able to win in Seattle too.
Right.
So nothing's guaranteed here except the fact that the Detroit Lions look really freaking good right now.
Yeah. And their defense is decimated. They started 3 practice squad players. And they still, granted they gave up 31, but it's a high-powered Jordan Love, Josh Jacobs offense. It's not an offense to sneeze at. So
yeah.
And going back to the, sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Oh, I was like going back to the playoff standings. Like you said, we could be a 13-4 team and in the fifth seed, which is insane. But that just is what it is when the division lead is winning 15, 16 games. That's just a freakish amount of games to win. But the
Right.
Packers, they're 9-4. They might theoretically be 2 games back from the 2 spot in the NFC North, and they could be the division lead in the NFC South. Like the Falcons, I think, lead that division at 6-6. The Packers could have a higher seed than the Vikings, but they're going to be fighting for the last wild card spot. Probably, it's just crazy how good this
Yeah.
division is.
It's like Adam Knight said, 13 players on IR before Thursday's game.
Yeah,
That
that's
is
crazy.
insane. And they're still keeping going. I think as long as they don't have major injuries on offense, as long as Jared Goff is the quarterback and you have Montgomery and Gibbs available, that tandem, and then you have Amon Ross, St. Brown, you have Jamison Williams and Sam Laporta. I think they can win those shootout kind of games like what it ended up being. And to be honest, Green Bay came back and I mean, they were putting pressure, and Jordan Love has an interception problem this year and everything. Granted, he's been coming back, hitting some clutch plays, but his guys, if you notice Thursday night, were dropping the ball a lot too. And that's what comes from basically not having a clear cut. And the Packer fans get so mad. They're like, well, it's Jaden Reed. Well, is it really though? Because you don't have a clear cut number one. You have a whole bunch of really, really good number twos.
Right.
But I would argue to say that Jaden Reed, Dontavian Wicks, Romeo Dobbs, any of those guys that they're trotting out there would be a clear cut number 3 in the Vikings behind JJ and Jordan Addison. But when you don't have the guy that you feel like you're obligated to force the ball to, like Justin Jefferson or whatever. And that's the one thing I liked about the Bears game is you want to take Justin Jefferson away, fine. At some point in time, some plays on the field, circling back to that Chicago game, they had 3 guys bracketing Justin Jefferson. What did we do? Had like 180 yards of Jordan Addison, 117 yards with Hawkinson, 100 plus on the ground with Aaron Jones and whatever. It's like, fine. Well, there's times where we'll just, if that's what you want to do on defense, we'll let you take Justin Jefferson away. Look what we did. We just had 3 other guys go over 100 and, with multiple scores and whatever. We can do that.
The Packers fan base going into the season kept saying that Dontavian Wicks was going to be the number one. I kept seeing Packers fan pages. Dontavian Wicks he's showing out. He's going to be the number one receiver, and he's done essentially nothing this season. Christian Watson was supposed to be the guy when they drafted him 3 years ago. He had like 4 really good games in a row where he put up like 7 touchdowns through 4 games. Like, oh, we got our guy. He's big. He's fast. Well, he's injury prone, and he drops balls not like crazy, but he drops them at the wrong time. So yeah, like they kept saying, well, I'd rather have 5 number 2s than a strong number 1, and then maybe a decent number 2. Well, now they could really use a strong number 1. I like Jaden Reed. I said he's going to be like the Midwest Devo, and that's kind of how they use him. He's really good at like the end arounds. He's a good runner. He's a good receiver, but I wouldn't say he's a number 1. Tucker Kraft, honestly, is probably the best pure pass catcher on that team, and he's just a bulky bull of a tight end. So
yeah. So I actually I don't know who dropped him. I was able to pick Tucker Kraft up on 2 different fantasy leagues and everything because I've got so many injuries going on myself with that kind of stuff. So Tucker Kraft has that mentality and everything. And, if it's a 3rd down in any type of what's considered short situation, if I was Jordan Love to avoid the interceptions I have been throwing, I'd be really trying to target Tucker Kraft.
100%.
And he's the one guy out of that whole bunch that I think if I was a quarterback, and I'm not, but if I was, I would feel comfortable throwing into some coverage and everything and giving him the chance to come down.
Yeah.
Kind of like what we're used to with, JJ and Hawkinson will more than likely win that battle if it's a contested catch. In fact, JJ is one of the categories he leads is in contested catches. And Addison's not too bad at that either, by the way. But that's the difference between the Vikings pass catching group and the Packers pass catching group is contested catches. The Vikings are winning that battle. The Packers are not. And then when they drop the ball, that they really shoot themselves in the foot with that too. And
Right.
Matthew Chesterton leaves a comment. This is getting back to talking the playoffs, and Matthew's normally on the show, but he's commenting on it now. So he's like, does this call for a playoff seeding based upon record? Well, yeah, it's going to, when it gets to the wild cards, you're going to have the teams with the best record, but then, if we have some teams that are tied up or whatever, it's going to go to NFC record, and then it's going to go to divisional record, and then common opponent wins and losses and stuff. But as of right now, that would apply to the Packers if they lose a couple more, and some of the other teams at NFC actually, don't fail us or whatever. So you've got Atlanta, you've got Tampa Bay. Nobody knows how that thing's going to go.
Washington's still playing strong.
Who knows what's going on with the West? I mean, somebody's got to win that too right now with everything going on and CMC now being out again.
And Mason's on IR now too.
Yeah, another fantasy team of mine. I had a team where I picked CMC number 1 overall, and that's done nothing.
Yeah. Oof.
But hey, welcome, welcome, Aaron.
What's going on?
How's it going?
But
yeah, if Chesterton's talking about rearranging the playoff structure to do it by seeding and overall record instead of division, I don't think we'll ever do that, because there has to be a benefit to winning the division. I don't think they'll ever go to just basing it off of record.
I think, yeah, though, and that's what everybody talks about is like in a year like this where you have, let's say the Packers don't really lose many more games this year, and they're also a double-digit wins team, and whatever. You got 3 double-digit win teams for all intents and purposes. That, you already do. In the North, and then you've got somebody is going to have to win the NFC South that may not even hit double-digit wins, and somebody has to win the NFC West and everything. Is it really fair to have the North with these 3 teams, looking so good? I mean, really half of the cumulative total amounts of our losses, our potential losses this year, are going to be against our NFC North opponents, our own foes in our own division. The Rams lost. Yeah, that's a fluke. But, I mean, the Lions knocked us off. Well, I mean, we knocked off the Bears. We knocked off the Packers in their own houses, So let's say that we can find – and they're going to play us tough at home. But let's say we find a way to win them and whatever. The majority of our own losses is just division opponents knocking each other off in the North and then just dominating everybody else that we play. I mean, we swept the AFC South. It's pretty amazing, and a lot of people is like, well, that's not fair. Well, you winning like you just said, winning the division has to mean something,
right?
Right.
Otherwise, why even bother with having divisions? Just line everybody up and let it rip every year, and you just take the best records. That's not how it makes it more interesting to have that division mean something,
Mm-hmm. Well, and if you're a 13-win Viking team having to go on the road to like 8-9 Falcons. Okay, as a 13-win team, you should be able to dispatch that 8-9 Falcons team on the road. It shouldn't be an issue.
True.
And then your next game is hopefully a home game. But
true.
Yeah.
We're at the halfway point. We've went in reverse order because we had a lot of stuff to talk about today. I'm going to run our halftime commercial here real quick. And then since we got Darren here, let's get back and recap that Cardinals game quick right after this commercial break, since we haven't done that yet. We'll do heroes and zeros and all of our favorite segments. But here's our little commercial quick. We'll be back in about a minute.
Welcome to the Huddle Sports Network, where we're breaking boundaries and redefining podcasting. Broadcasting live on 6 different platforms, we're bringing you the latest in sports like never before. Imagine tuning into real-time discussions, expert analyses, and fan interactions all at your fingertips. Each platform offers a unique experience, whether you're on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch. We're not just sharing stories, we're creating a community of passionate sports enthusiasts. Join us as we dive deep into the evolution of podcasting, where every episode is a chance to engage, debate, and celebrate the world of sports. This is where your voice matters and the game never stops. Welcome to the Huddle Sports Network, where we're breaking boundaries and redefining podcasting. Broadcasting live on 6 different platforms, we're bringing you the latest in sports like never before, where sports passion meets podcasting brilliance. I'm Mike, the Bear fan, and alongside Bill, the Packer fan, and our buddy Ken Catalone, we're bringing you an incredible lineup of 38 diverse podcasters. Each one brings their unique flavor to the table, covering everything from game analysis to behind-the-scenes stories. Imagine diving deep into the minds of experts who live and breathe football, sharing insights that you won't find anywhere else.
All right, we're back. So technically, we got a fourth in the podcast. I got one of the littles. He's been sitting here. He did bite my arm, so I got a little blood now. But he's playing. So I think actually this one's the girl. But anyways, let's go back and recap the Cardinals game here quick. So there's two different aspects I wanted to discuss real quick. Everybody that I know that was at the stadium, in fact, Sir Death even posted about it, of a lot of people had sold their tickets. So there's a lot of new, people all throughout the stadium. The energy from the fans was dead. And yeah, the team came out and it was, one of the big selling points about US Bank Stadium, the Vikings fan base, is, bringing that energy, hitting 120 decibels and everything. That didn't happen till like the fourth quarter. And we looked, I will give us this much credit. We hung in there and then came back and did what we had to do. Came from behind, tied it up, went ahead, and then won the game on a Shaq Griffin interception. Was it Griffin or was it Gilmore? I can't remember.
It was Shaq Griffin, yeah.
It was Shaq Griffin. That's what I thought. So we did what we were supposed to do and got the W and everything. Didn't look particularly great doing it, but who's our heroes and zeros? Let's go with you first, Darren. Just recap what you thought of that game first, and then tell me who you thought the hero was and who the zero was in that.
That whole first half was just like, what the fuck are we doing? It was just like, dude, I was like, I'd had better opportunity of watching paint dry than fucking watching that first half. I'm just like, come on, somebody do something. And then finally we were able to get things going. Like it took a long felt like forever for things to get going. I thought the defense played well this game. Byron Murphy came up big in another game. I feel like he watched previous podcasts when we were shitting on him. I feel like he had something out and prove, and now there's shit out saying that he's amongst all the corners and going into the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, I think it's fourth and voted.
Yeah. So my hero for the game is going to be Byron Murphy, and my zero is going to be fucking Cam Akers.
Yeah. Matthew finally clocked in, joining us, our co-host and part-time regular host when I'm gone and stuff. So Matthew's wife is getting knighted into the VWO in the morning, and Matthew, it looks like you will have the honors of knighting your wife in, and several other leaders there and everything. So bring your sword or your axe or whatever, and
congratulations.
Congratulations, Matthew.
I'll have to bring my spatula.
Oh, you can probably do that. If you're going to do that, wear your Viking chef hat and your apron and all that other stuff. If you're going to do that, you might as well cook up a couple on the Blackstone for everybody there in the tailgate lot, too. It warmed up some here today. I tell you what.
Yeah, it's nice.
We're about to road trip up to northeast Iowa for my son's college concert tonight and everything at Wartburg. So I'm glad I pleasantly surprised when I stepped out this morning. Like, wow, it's like 40 degrees warmer than normal. But
right,
Matthew, go Chesterton. Go ahead with your little Arizona recap and your heroes and zeros for us.
Well, that whole game, the first half almost made me You go to sleep.
Yeah.
I'm going, what's going on here?
Yeah.
And then just the explosion of offense on both sides at the second half really. Maybe the script writers were going, "Hey, this is not what you're supposed to do."
Wake up.
But there is two people I have my eye on, and yes, Jonathan Grenard, NFC Defensive Player of the Month. There is so much to be said about him. However, I'm going to give my hero to Aaron Jones. Yes, he did drop the ball twice in the first half, but he redeemed it when it counted.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And that's who I'm going to have as my hero because he learned, and whatever he did in that second half, he got us that win. One of the greatest wins this season. Probably soared my blood pressure to 300.
Yeah. Yeah.
The zero. My gosh. I have to give it to Romo. Yes, he did miss that kick, and it did put a little bit more pressure on us. But like I said, Aaron Jones came through when it counted. And with what KOC said in that locker room after the game, and he said, we have your back in this. That shows that this team is a family. This team is hungry. And we're going to get to the promised land with KOC.
I hope you're right. So, Matthew, your take on heroes and zeros.
So I was a little cocky going into my predictions last week. I think I said it was going to be like a 34-20 game. I did not realize Arizona had won 4 of their last 5 and had only given up 14.5 points a game through those 5 games. So that's on me for not paying. I was stuck on early Arizona from the season, or earlier on in the season when they were pretty bad. So that's why I'm going to give my hero to Sam Darnold because he did the opposite of seeing ghosts. He got absolutely shell-shocked that entire first half. We couldn't get anything going. And what did he do? He came out in the second half. He put up like a 72% completion percentage, had a couple touchdowns, didn't turn the ball over. I mean, he just is cool, calm, and collected all season. His last 3 games, he has 7 total touchdowns, no turnovers, like 812 yards. He's absolutely slinging the ball. My zero was initially going to be Aaron Jones because he fumbled on back-to-back drives. Granted, the first one we recovered, so we kept the ball. But he's gotten some butterfingers lately. I hope the KOC is doing that Madison Pudel stick to him in practice because that seemed to work last year. But I'm going to have to give it to Fabian Moreau because he's just – I don't know if it's his height because he is pretty short. I mean, he hasn't really gotten any meaningful reps on defense. But once he was in, they were clearly picking on him. He drew a really bad pass interference on a play where we just could not give that yardage up. He got picked out in the end zone and gave up a touchdown. It was okay coverage. Like he was pretty close, but just that our defense, when they were getting picked apart, it was because of him. So I'm going to give him my zero.
Yeah. Well, and you know, the biggest thing of it is, and I think the TV, because I wasn't at this game, so I was watching in Ames at the Ames School Club, and the TV announcers were even saying, you know, Kyler Murray does not get sacked. And there were so many times where at least 5 times where Van Ginkel was within 6 inches of getting a hand on, you know, the guy. Yeah, I mean, he can scramble and he can get out of there. We eventually, as we wore down their offensive line throughout the course of the whole game, started getting some hands on him, started, you know, making some plays. I thought Flores did the best that he could in a first half where it just ended up being a struggle. And I swear to God, I as well am never picking this team to be a win by 2 scores.
I gotta stop. I'm with you.
I was sitting there thinking that first half too. I said, you know what? Me and Matthew both were predicting we just fucked our team over. You know, but I really thought that first half, our offensive line play was not good. It wasn't good out of Brandel. It wasn't good out of Cam Robinson. It wasn't good out of Reisner and Brian O'Neill. And surprisingly, Garrett Bradbury are the only 2 really playing somewhat decent, acceptable football. Now they made some adjustments on protection schemes in the second half. I think what really got it, and the announcers even said as much, when they started making it a point that, okay, we have Justin Jefferson, when they started getting the ball to Jefferson, got him over 100 yards and everything, that started moving stuff. Then the rest of the team was able to actually start making plays. I'm going to give my hero to JJ. Probably split it between him and Darnold for just hanging in there and taking what the defense gives and then making shit happen in the fourth quarter. My zero is going to have to basically go to everybody not named Brian O'Neill on the offensive line. And I understand everybody's nicked up, blah, 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 whatever. I was thinking about Aaron Jones. It's the 2 fumbles. I mean, that really hurt us. You know, but I think he knows it. You could just see his face on the sideline. He was more conscious of it than anybody. And like Matthew, like Chesty said, I mean, he did come back and redeem himself when it counted. And his touchdown celebration, he just stood there, went like this, looked up. I mean, he knows.
Yeah.
Nobody, I guarantee you, not one fucking person needed to say anything to him in the locker room. He knows.
Right.
The coaches don't need to say nothing. The players don't need to say nothing. Kevin O'Connell in his post-game speech did say something and did acknowledge, he's like, we still got your back, AJ, we still got your back, Showtime, but he knows.
Yeah.
So that is what it is. I was just happy that, teams of the past couple of years, that's a game where the Vikings, with Cousins as quarterback, might have turned around and lost that one. Things start going wrong. We had a bad habit in the Zimmer years of letting things going wrong snowball. And it just seems that KOC, who is now the most winning coach through his first, 40 games, I think, in Vikings history? Is it 40?
Yes.
45, yeah.
45, yeah. It seems like those games that we used to, when things were not going right and we'd end up on the wrong end of a 1-score game under the Zimmer regime, we're ending up on the right end of it under the KOC regime. And a win's a win, whether it's by 3 or it's by 23. So I'll take it. I would like to see a more defining performance against Atlanta. So let's roll into Atlanta. All right. This is what I'm banking on. Kirk Cousins throwing picks and then us capitalizing on it and getting touchdowns off of the turnovers that we get. But we're in for some tough sledding here. I mean, they've got their running back group consists of Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier. Let's just roll through this here quick. Notable wide receivers, our old friend Darnell Mooney that used to be in the Bears, Drake London. Tight ends is Kyle Pitts. I'm not even going to get into the rest of tight ends. Okay. These guys got some weapons they're coming in with on offense. And then you look at defense, they're not, and Matthew already hinted to this. This isn't a particularly good defensive unit, but sitting on the back end of this, you got a couple standouts. You got Kevin King, used to be out of Iowa. I'm not going to go homer on this. You got our old friend Mike Hughes, who we know very well. And then you got, let's see. Who else should we? You got Young Ho Koo.
Jesse Bates and
Jesse. Yeah, you got Jesse Bates, at safety, and you got Justin Simmons at safety too. So these guys are making some plays, not a lot. I mean, you got Antonio Hamilton Sr. at corner. All this, just looking over who's doing stuff this year. What are we worried about against Atlanta? Anybody?
Kirk Cousins. He's coming off last 2 games, Denver and now the Chargers, and we kind of know what it's like with Cousins being down. He finally finds a way to come back off of 2 losses, 1 loss. I'm more or less concerned with our defense. I feel like our offense will be able to do something against their defense, but I feel like it's going to be more or less Cousins knows what O'Connell coaches up, and also he knows Flores is shit. So I feel like Cousins is going to be the factor.
Yeah.
Uh,
Go ahead.
I'm going to go the exact opposite. I am not worried about our defense at all. I think Kirk is kind of in that same boat as Aaron Rodgers. Like we hold him into this esteem of what he was a couple years ago, or even last year when he was playing really well. But I think he's showing some pretty clear signs of regression as this season goes on. He's got 3 straight games without a touchdown. He's got 6 interceptions over that time span as well. We have I think we're tied with Houston for the best edge rushers as far as sacks go. So we know how to get after the quarterback. And what we know about Kirk is if you rattle him early, he is Sam Darnold on the Jets. He does see ghosts. He does not usually have the ability to recover. But if he gets hot early, he's hard to stop. So if we could get there with our pass rush and make his life hell early, I have no concern. He's not mobile at all. He's not Kyler Murray. He's not Caleb Williams. He's not going to be able to get out of the pocket and run. So I'm not worried about their offense at all. I think our defense is going to play really well. As far as our offense against their defense, again, their pass rushers are great. If their corners are Packers, Kevin King, and Mike Hughes, JJ and Addison should both have over 100 yards. I'm going to immediately flip on what I said in our last segment about being overly hyped about our score predictions. But this should absolutely be a double-digit win type of game.
Right.
So that's my take.
Looking at the roster, the only thing I'm concerned is if they start Penix. Yeah, we might be game planning for Penix, but I think most of our game planning is going towards Cousins.
As it should. You're not benching a $50 million quarterback.
No. And I do have some breaking news. According to Bleacher Report, an NFL insider is saying Kevin O'Connell, after this season, is going to get a much-deserved contract extension.
Yeah.
Which we all anticipated,
Yep.
So, yeah. That I tend, Matthew Stare, I tend to agree with pretty much your take down to every last word. I listened to like talk sports radio, I guess, in the morning and then afternoon drives and everything to and from work and whatever. And they were talking about the Falcons. I believe it was Wednesday, all the way in, and so this both local and then on the not Pat McAfee, but the Dan Patrick show. It's just like what you're seeing is a guy that's pushing 40, starting to show. You don't have as good of a team around you as what you had on the Minnesota Vikings for all those years and everything. And you went in there, you were supposed to be the difference maker and the linchpin that everything hinged upon to turn around the Atlanta Falcons. Well, you're a few years shy of 40 years old. You're beat up. You have been beat up for a couple of years, and it's showing. The lack of accuracy, and I would argue there's nobody outside of Kyle. So Kyle Pitts concerns me because the one thing that's been a constant for the Minnesota Vikings over the past probably 30 years, we haven't covered a tight end worth of shit in 30 years. I mean, we've had a lot of problems ever since basically the 2017 season. We've had problems stopping the run, but Flores has us, I believe, we're still ranked number 1 in rush defense or number 2. We've been doing a hell of a good job all year long against every running back that we've seen. I mean, some of them have had a game, but if you factor in all the games played so far, we have a damn good rush defense. Yeah. Normally, a guy like Bijan or Algier would scare me a little bit, or the tandems that we face with them guys. Not so much, just because of the fact that what you said earlier. I think we can throw all over this defense, and I think they will have some turnovers early because I think Flores is going to have the same mentality that you just mentioned right out the gate. In fact, if we win the coin toss, we might even give them the ball first. Just let them tee off on this dude. And if we can get some turnovers, if we get an early lead, they ain't going to be running the ball. They're going to have to put it in the air. That's what the Vikings have always wanted to do anyways.
Right.
And that's what we're doing all at the beginning of the year, coming out and grabbing these big multiple score leads and everything and forcing people to throw and not run, which is also part of, I guess, the stats when it comes to our run defense. But recently we haven't been getting, killed on the ground. I mean, there's been a few times here and there where the guy's got his yards and whatever, but I really think get that early lead and then just unleash every exotic thing that you can, because, Kirk did have a year playing with Flores. He's not unaccustomed to seeing this defense, but Flores has enough different things and enough different people on the team.
I'll say I feel like he's tweaked quite a bit from last year as well, because our pressure rate's been a lot better this year.
Yeah, and just for people that are going to say that and everything like what I just said, the counterpoint to that argument is Cousins has not seen this defense with Van Ginkel, with Jonathan Grenard, with Blake Cashman, with obviously he knows who Ivan Pace is and everything, but
suitable corners.
Patrick Jones II did not play at this level at all last year, nor did he get this amount of snaps or any of the prior years that we've had him. This isn't the same defense that Kirk remembers from a year ago when he was on the Vikings. So, if we're going to go around and do predictions, I'll start off. I do think that the Falcons will score their amount of points, but I'm saying this game we're over 30 again, and we win 34-24. I said I wasn't going to do this, but I'm going to do it.
I'm with you. I'm right there with you.
So go ahead. Let's go do predictions. I'm saying 34-24. What do you think, Matthew?
I'll say 28-19. Bijan is a good receiving back, so if Kirk wants to just quick dump to him and have him get yards after the catch, I suppose that could kind of hurt us in the middle of the field. But overall, I don't see them putting up points in bunches. I do see us putting up at least a handful of touchdowns. Sam Darnold's going to be good for another 2. Aaron Jones should get his obligatory touchdown, hopefully. So I'll say 28-19. Not quite double digits, but it should be a pretty easy, or not easy, but a pretty winnable game.
Yeah. Well, and just before Darren goes, that's one thing. That's one of the reasons why the first half went the way it did against the Cardinals, because they just did all this dink and dunk stuff all the way down the field. The thing of it is, I think the Vikings are fine with that, because they'll take that all day long instead of giving up a big play. But it does make for a pretty long day if we're also not moving the ball on offense. But go ahead, Darren. What's your thoughts on how this is going to turn out?
I think it's going to be 38-24 Vikings.
Hell yeah.
Nice. I like it.
God, I would love to have a near 40-point game. God, that'd be sweet.
Yeah, it would.
Not to mention, I'm playing for a first-round bye. I need some Aaron Jones points, please and thank you.
Yes, I could definitely use Aaron Jones points, and I could definitely use TJ Hawkinson points in multiple things.
Oh, yeah, fair.
If anybody's listening, that so
hey, Keenan McCardell, get Addison involved.
Yes, I have a league where the Bears game I had Addison on the bench. I was kicking myself in the ass.
Same. Started Debo over him. Womp womp.
Yep.
Yeah, I had fucking Addison on the bench too. I was fucking
I know, but so we're pretty much at the end of the show. We got to run our outro and everything, but make sure you turn in at 8:00 tonight for Skull Gang 365 with Darren and his night crew. I'll be gone on the road. I won't be able to join in, but always a good podcast tonight on the Huddle Sports Network, 8:00. Skull Gang 365. So thanks for being with us today, guys. Appreciate it. Looking forward to this big Vikings win tomorrow.
Let's go 11-2. Guys. Skulls.
The daily podcasts are Ken and Ken in the Morning, Lions Talk with Smoking Jeremy B, Wrestling Roundup, The Big Football Show, and more, Shield TV, Lions Villain Report, and Red Zone Rant. The afternoon podcasts are Valhalla, Grosef Sports, WCFL Dolphins Talk, The Cheap Seats, The Viking Show, Spirit of Detroit Podcast, and Maniacs. The nightly podcasts are Hallis Hall Report, Frozen Tundra Network, Skull Gang 365, The Huddle Sports Network Open Mic, First and 10 with Foz, Main Event Football Show, Prime Sports World, The Man Cave, Prim and Proper Sports, Spitballing Podcast, Lions Fan Cave Chat, Puckett, 313 Den Podcast, The Guys Huddle, Shots from the Sideline, Let's Talk Sports, The Michigan Truth Sports Podcast, Off the Rails, NFC Northeast, Power Hours, and Detroit Lions News. Make sure you follow